What happens when artists stop asking, how real can I make this look? And instead start asking how weird, how fast, or how simple can art actually be? That's when get things bold, really bold. In the last video, we looked at four styles: realism, showing life as it is, impressionism, chasing light, expressionism, digging into emotions, and photorealism, going sharper than a human eyes. But in the early 19th century, a new wave of artists came along who basically said, alright, enough of reality, let's break it apart, let's speed it up, let's strip it down to its bare minimum. So today we're diving into four movements that completely reshaped art: Cubism, Futurism, abstract art, and minimalism. Together they turned the art world upside down. So let's start with Cubism, the movement that really shattered the rules. Cubism was born in the early 19th century mainly through the two names that you've definitely heard of, Pablo Picasso and George Braque. Now, the idea was pretty radical. Instead of painting something from a single viewpoint like you and I would normally see it, they wanted to show all angles at once. Imagine taking a guitar or a face, smashing it into geometric pieces, and then resembling it on canvas. That's Cubism. There are actually two phases of Cubism: analytical Cubism and synthetic Cubism. Analytical Cubism came first: muted colors, fragmented forms, kind of like subject exploded into tiny shots. Then came synthetic Cubism, which brought in brighter colors, simpler shapes, and even collage. Picasso would literally paste in newspaper clippings or wallpaper onto his canvas and mix it with paint. Critics at the time? Oh, they hated it.
What?
People said the paintings looked like puzzles gone wrong, or someone had dropped a vase and then glued the pieces back randomly. But for Picasso and Braque, this was the point. Reality is complex, layered, and multidimensional, so why not show it that way? Some key features to spot in Cubism: fragmented objects, multiple viewpoints mashed together, geometric shapes everywhere, and usually pretty dull and earthy tones in early phases. And the influence? Huge. Cubism basically opened the door for modern abstract art. Even architecture, graphic design, and digital modeling today owe a little something to Picasso's crazy idea that you don't have to paint things as they look. You can paint them as they are, in pieces. Next up is Futurism. If Cubism broke things apart, then Futurism threw them into motion. Futurism started in Italy in the early 19th century, and these artists were obsessed with speed, technology, machines, and modern city. Think racing cars, trains, factories, airplanes, the energy of a world that was suddenly moving faster than ever. One of the leading figures was Umberto Boccioni, who painted these scenes that feel like they're vibrating with motion. Another was Giacomo Bella, who loved showing movement like a dog on a leash, painted with its leg multiplied to show speed. It almost feels like the first attempt at motion blur. Some key features: dynamic lines, repetition of forms, bright colors, and composition that seems to explode off the canvas. Futurists wanted you to feel velocity, chaos, and excitement. Now, the historical context is important too. This was right before World War I, when industrialization was transforming Europe. Futurists weren't just painting, they wrote manifestos about destroying the past and embracing the future. They literally said, we want to burn museums, which, is a little extreme. Imagine telling people today, let's delete the internet history of the last 200 years. Then why people love Futurism? It's because it feels alive, it's energetic, bold, and almost cinematic. You can imagine it moving, so if Cubism made art intellectual and fragmented, Futurism made it fast and futuristic. Now here is where things get really wild. Abstract art. Abstract art is basically art that leaves behind reality entirely. Instead of painting something recognizable like a tree or a person, abstract art used color, shape, and line to express idea or emotion. One of the pioneers was Vasily Kandinsky, who I have mentioned him before in Expressionism. He believed that color and shape could work like music, and each note or color make you feel something without needing a variable subject. Then we have Piet Mondrian, who stripped down everything to grids and primary colors: red, blue, yellow, black, and white. His paintings looked simple, but they were about harmony, balance, and a search for universal beauty. Okay, so the important question here is, why did abstract art emerge? Well, after movements like Cubism and Futurism, artists realized they didn't need to represent reality at all. They could just create pure visual experiences. It was a total break from centuries of tradition: no portraits, no landscape, no storytelling, just form, color, and emotion. Some key features: non-representational shape, no clear object, bold use of color, and compositions that make you feel something without telling you what to see. Of course, public at first thought it was nonsense. "My kid could do that" is probably the most famous insult abstract artists have ever heard. But abstraction ended up becoming one of the most important art revolution ever, because it opened door to freedom. Art no longer had to copy life, it could invent its own. And even today, you can see abstract art everywhere, from modern design and branding to album covers to digital art that just play with colors and forms. Minimalism emerged in the 1960s as a reaction to the complexity of abstract expressionism and modern art. Minimalist artists believed that less is more. Instead of overwhelming detail, they focused on simplicity, purity, and clarity. Key figures include Donald Judd, who created simple geometric sculptures, Frank Stella, whose paintings were all about clean lines and flat color, and Agnes Martin, who made delicate grids that feel meditative. Some key features of minimalism: stripped down forms, neutral or monochromatic colors, repetition, and often large-scale work that create a sense of peace and calm. It's art that's not trying to tell you a story, it's just is. Critics often mocked minimalism, calling it boring or empty, but the point was to eliminate distractions and focus on the essence of form. It's almost like visual mindfulness. Standing in front of a minimalist piece forces you to slow down and really notice subtle differences in shape, light, and space. And you can see minimalism's impact everywhere today: in architecture, interior design, tech products, and fashion. The clean, uncluttered aesthetic we love so much owes a lot to those artists who decided to strip art down to its bare bones. So these four styles, Cubism, Futurism, abstract art, and minimalism, show us what happens when artists decide to abandon reality altogether. Cubism broke reality into fragments, Futurism blasted it into motion, abstract art abandoned it completely, and minimalism stripped it back down to almost nothing. Each one challenged tradition, each one made people angry at first, each one completely reshaped what art could be. Thanks so much for watching. In the next video, we'll dive into even more movements, where art turns decorative, stylish, and sometimes a little strange. From Art Nouveau swirls to new classical throwbacks, it's going to be beautiful. So stick around.